So today I've come out on a wet, cold Friday in January to walk from Threlkeld to Keswick along the old Keswick to Penrith railway line. It's now been made into a footpath and cycle path. It's 5 kilometres long, excellent flat walk through the woods and through tunnels and along the river. And this is the old Keswick to Penrith line that went all the way through to Cockermouth and to Workington. The line west of Keswick closed in 1966, and the line to Keswick from Penrith closed in 1972. There is a campaign to try and get the line between Keswick and Penrith reinstated. A lot of people trying to support that, although whether that will actually ever happen, I have no idea. But you can walk along it. It's a lovely cycle path, footpath, nice and easy and flat, tarmacked as well. So if you're looking for a nice easy little walk to do in the lakes, then I do recommend this one. Many railway lines, branch lines, were closed in the 60s and 70s and even in the 1980s. The most famous person associated with the closure of many of these railways was Dr. Beeching, although British Rail also closed many railway lines. Some of them were never going to be profitable, but this line to Keswick is one of the lines that should definitely have remained. It would have really benefited the local economy. It would have given people an alternative means of getting into the heart of the Lake District without having to rely on vehicles. So it's sad that this line is no longer in use, although it does make for a beautiful walk. But if you're interested in the history of the old Keswick and Penrith line, there's lots of information online. You can see lots of photos and videos, and I'll also put a link somewhere to the campaign to try and reinstate this line. Obviously a lot of money's been invested on this path, making it suitable for walkers and cyclists, but it has also been impacted by Storm Desmond, which I think was in 2015, caused a lot of damage along this path, but that's all been rectified now. We've had a lot of rain over the last few weeks, and the river here is very swollen. In fact, this river floods quite regularly, and Keswick is very vulnerable to flooding. And you can see the impact it's having on the trees, where trees have been knocked down, washed down. Anyway, we're coming to another bridge, quite a number of bridges crossing the river. And one thing you notice about these bridges is the way they're designed. So some of them have the arch over the bridge, and sometimes the arch is under the bridge. So I'll just turn the camera around and show you what I mean. So the arch on this bridge is actually beneath the bridge. If I just show you the river, see what I mean in terms of the volume of water we got flowing down it at the moment. When Storm Desmond struck, the flooding actually damaged many of the old railway bridges and actually washed some of them away. And we're coming now to a bridge which is a replacement of the old railway bridge. So what used to be here was a railway bridge similar to the ones we just crossed, but they've actually replaced it with a pedestrian footbridge as a result of the flooding in 2015. So just show you now. are some information panels along the path that give you some of the history of this place, but also gives you some information about the flooding and the destruction it caused in 2015 with Storm Desmond. And I've actually got a picture here of the old railway bridge that used to sit just behind me, that's been replaced by the footbridge. So if I just turn the camera around, you'll see the old railway bridge and sadly what happened to it. So that's why they had to replace that old railway bridge with this pedestrian bridge. Now I know when that pedestrian bridge was installed, there were people actually trying to campaign saying that it should be a bridge that would be strong enough to take a track and trains over it, because of this campaign to try and reinstate the railway line here. But the people trying to get the council, the people repairing this the bridges to do that, failed. So it's a pedestrian bridge. It wouldn't be suitable for taking heavy traffic or a train over it. So if the railway does get reinstated, they'll have to replace that bridge with something a bit more substantial. Again, we're crossing over another bridge, pedestrian bridge that replaced what was used to be here, an old railway bridge that got swept away with the floods. And as you can see, the weather is very changeable today. It started raining again. Despite the pretty miserable weather, this path is very popular even on a Friday afternoon in the middle of January. Lots of people walking along here. Dog walkers, cyclists and so forth. So popular path even when the weather's not great. When they were restoring this footpath and improving it for access for pedestrians and cyclists, one of the biggest jobs they faced was restoring the Bobbin Mill tunnel, which had been filled in when the railway line had closed. So if you used to follow this path, you'd have to climb over the hill to get round the tunnel, but they've now excavated the tunnel, and this is the largest tunnel on the whole Keswick to Threlkeld path, and we're just about to go into it now. It's a beautiful old tunnel. So behind me is a bridge that carries the A66 over the Greta River, and if you drive into Keswick you will cross this bridge, or if you're bypassing Keswick you'll certainly cross this bridge. And in September 1999 it won an award for being the best concrete structure of the century. I'll let you make your own mind up about whether that's a worthy winner or not, but if you drive along the A66 to Keswick and to West Cumbria, you will cross this bridge and you will certainly be familiar with it. So today the path between Keswick and Threlkeld is a really nice, easy tarmacked path, but it wasn't always like this. Back in the 80s, when I was a child, the bridges were quite dangerous to cross. There were iron girders and you just had to sort of balance your way across. And when I was walking here once as a child, our dog actually ran across one of these bridges, slipped and almost fell onto the road. And we're coming into that bridge now. The dog was called Chloe. I remember it very vividly. And it crosses this very busy road as you come into Keswick. So this is the road now. But our dog slipped on the girders and almost fell through the gaps and almost fell onto this busy road, and she was only saved by my dad, who managed to catch her in time. So the path now is perfectly safe to cross, but it wasn't like that back in the 80s. So that's what the bridge looks like now. And this is walking into Keswick. The railway station, the old railway station, is just ahead of me. And this is the Greta River running into the centre of Keswick. So here we are, Keswick, and the old railway station, which I think is now part of Keswick Hotel. But you can still go onto the old platform and look at the old station and imagine what it must have been like when people were coming into Keswick by train. And one of the things Keswick's famous for is the Keswick Convention, which is a Bible convention held in the summer over 3 weeks. It's been going on for over 150 years, certainly a long time. And they used to put special trains on to bring pilgrims, bring the people going to the convention to Keswick. So you used to get these trains coming to Keswick to bring people to the convention. Anyway, it's seen better days, and it'd be lovely if it can be properly restored. So next to Keswick railway station you've got Keswick Leisure Centre, and there used to be a swimming pool here with a slide and other attractions, but it closed I think a few years ago. But I'm surprised to discover the lights are on, but you can see that the pool, if I put the camera here, the pool is empty. So clearly the pool is out of use, but it looks like it's being used as a gym. So I don't know what the future of this building is. I know there again been people asking for it to be reinstated, but at the moment it looks closed.